which view is more likely? Which view is more reasonable? The one that has to deny it because your worldview presuppositions kind of demand that you deny it? Or the worldview that makes sense of it, offers redemption, a God of grace who will be there with you when this stuff is happening, no matter how painful it is, and offers you the possibility. Like you said, it's a choice. It's a choice you have to make. You can become bitter. You can become resentful. Or you can trust God. You can seek him. You can grow closer to him. You can have purpose. You can have meaning. You can have all of that. It's a choice. Like you said, it's a choice. You have to make it. But you don't get to gaslight God for the kind of universe he creates if you made the choice to get better. If you made the choice to shake your fist at him, that's your fault. That's not God's fault. You don't have the right to determine what kind of universe God creates. Especially when he gives us sufficient grace.
It's objectifying as well, because what I actually think it does is it renders, I don't know if you've heard of the phenomenon of the indomitable human spirit, but I pray that every single person experiences at least once in their lifetime the indomitable human spirit, which is this ability that we have, this innate ability that if we choose to, we can overcome the worst of circumstances. And Alex, for whatever reason, thinks that it's more valuable. I said this to him when I debated him. I said, you have two choices. Either you believe the most important thing about someone, their value, is merely what happens to them, so their victimhood, or you value how someone responds to what happens to them. I choose the latter because I don't want to infantilize humans. I go, actually, no, it is a great good and it is in your best interest, and you will respect yourself more if you watch yourself overcome this. Alex wants to infantilize human beings and only focus on the fact that we're victims of our suffering. And so he doesn't want there to be any suffering. And that's just going to be a value disagreement. And at that point, just come out and say you're a hedonist, bro. Just stop being in the closet. Just say it. Just say the quiet part out loud, bro. You think that the most valuable thing is to be in a constant state of pleasure. Just if you just say the quiet part out loud, I respect you more for it. But not this meandering thing of like, well, like, no, like we're not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really beautifully put how you said that. And I'm really glad that you brought it up because I was wondering how to end on this because it felt kind of out of left field bringing it up, but it just came up naturally. And what you said is really brilliantly put. There's a discussion out there, even amongst Christian apologists, of like, how seriously should we take the problem of evil? Some Christians will be like, yeah, I don't take it seriously. And they kind of go the Graham Oppy route where Graham Oppy, who's an atheist himself, just says there is no problem of evil. And he's talking about a logical problem. But like Graham Oppy recognizes like, there's just nothing inherently contradictory within the theistic worldview that makes this something that refutes theism. And you can take that route. And then there are other Christians who talk about we need to take it gravely seriously. And they're talking about from an emotional standpoint. Like, look, we need to be really serious about this and empathize with people. Here's where I come from. I'm going to say I don't take it seriously. This is what I mean very specifically, because this was like not a light bulb moment for me, but a transformative experience for me where I went through some things. Again, and I'm not saying we shouldn't take it seriously in that we shouldn't be there for people. We shouldn't take their pain seriously and try to, be there for them in the best way we can and give them the best kind of counsel. But, when we're having these discussions, there are grand explanations like theodicies, generic explanations of why would God create a world of suffering. Then there's inevitably always the specific instances the atheist wants to bring up. And they'll talk about like something that's actually happened or hypothetical. And they'll cite like a very specific instance of suffering and be like, justify this. And we can't do that, right? We don't have the mind of God to know specifically why this child died of this thing. Here's the thing though. I've walked through experiences with people who have gone through, actually lived through the very specific instances the atheists bring up as though they're supposed to refute God. And I've watched these people triumph and grow closer to God in them. That is what, for me, was just a transformative moment where I'm like, I just don't feel the weight. Maybe I'm being naive. Maybe I should see the weight for like intellectual reasons, but I don't feel the weight anymore when atheists bring these up as they're supposed to refute God, because I've seen people go through them. I've seen people get stronger. I've cried with people. I've not being able to offer them intellectual answers, just had to be there for them. And I watched them get closer to God through them. There's nothing like that. And when you go through something like that with someone, you just don't feel the emotional weight of this disproves God. Because all of a sudden you get rid of God through the picture, and now what do you make of that thing you just went through with that person? Nothing. You've reduced to something like Alex's view, where you just have to say, well, there actually isn't any moral content to this. There isn't any explanation. There's no comfort. Which view is more likely? Which view is more reasonable? The one that has to deny it because your worldview presuppositions kind of demand that you deny it? Or the worldview that makes sense of it, offers redemption, a God of grace who will be there with you when this stuff is happening, no matter how painful it is, and offers you the possibility. Like you said, it's a choice. It's a choice you have to make. You can become bitter. You can become resentful. You can become like someone who, like Christopher Hitchens, who would shake their fist of God and who would probably meet God in the afterlife, and instead of fall to his knees and say I was wrong, say, how dare you? You can be like that, or you can trust God. You can seek him. You can grow closer to him. And then no matter what pain you went through in this life, no matter who you lost, especially if it's a child, you can be reunited to them. You can have purpose. You can have meaning. You can have all of that. It's a choice. Like you said, it's a choice. You have to make it. But you don't get to gaslight God for the kind of universe he creates if you made the choice to get better. If you made the choice to shake your fist at him, that's your fault. That's not God's fault. You can't gaslight God. Make a choice. Make the right one. Get a Bible, read it, go to Apologetics YouTube channels, go to Inspiring Philosophy, go to your channel. People can contact you if they're wrestling with doubts. Do that because it's worth it. And that was what this whole discussion broadly was about. We've lasered in on some key things, but broadly this discussion was about meaning and purpose. The Christian worldview is where it's found. And I really encourage people, go that route. It will serve you way better, not only in the long run in this life, but in eternity. I'll give you the last word on that.
Oh, man, beautifully said. Absolutely. You were preaching there. Love it. I was soaking that in. The only last thing I'll say is really good book. It's by a author called Jerry Sitzer, and he wrote a book called A Grace Disguised. Subtitle, How the Soul Grows Through Loss. And he goes through this book. He basically creates a manual based on his testimony of how to overcome suffering. He lost 3 generations of his family in a single car accident. He lost his mother, daughter, and sister. Mother, daughter, and wife in a single car accident. And he says simultaneously it was the worst thing that happened to him, and it was the greatest thing that could have spiritually happened to him. If you are having any seed of doubt, what Stellman is saying is that, well, if I just choose to overcome, I will overcome. Read that book. A Grace Disguise. You can get it on Amazon. It'll change your life.
When I wait, new 24, before my ankles hit the floor. Take a break, say thank you, Lord. Then I dip up out the door. So lacking, I can't afford. Feel tough like a Ford. Pack the word like a sword. This a battle, this a war.